Hey everybody, it's Aldo Gandhi, and I just want to let you know really quickly that our swag shop is reopened. DeepDishTees.com is where you go, and that's tees with T-E-E-S. Clever name, guys. They're the new home of our merchandise. You can get t-shirts, you can get caps, you can get coffee mugs, you can get hoodies, you can get all sorts of good stuff, and you'll help out the bar room with the purchase. So head over to DeepDishTees.com.
Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Every summer in Chicago, the sunshine spotlights the city's spectacular skyline. Its luxurious lakeshore, marvelous monuments, and the over 200 neighborhoods in the city. And it also brings to light two of the greatest sports franchises in the world. On the north side, it's the Cubs. On the south side, it's the White Sox. This is Crosstown Crosstalk.
Hello, and welcome to episode number 16 of Crosstown Crosstalk. My name is Vinnie.
And I'm Joey.
And Joey almost forgot to say his name again. What is going on?
Didn't. I had that down pat. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was a little late.
Yeah, delay, extreme delay.
Spider-Man trailer. What'd you think?
Good stuff. If you're a Marvel fan, this is going to be probably one of the most highly anticipated movies since Endgame. There's only been 2 movies since Endgame, but you get what I'm saying.
3, I think.
3.
I get what I'm saying.
The hype around this movie is unreal, especially with the crossover between, the old Spider-Mans that we all know is inevitable. So I'm pumped for it.
It passed Avengers Endgame as the most viewed trailer in the first 24 hours of its release, and it set the record for the biggest global social media conversation volume of all time in any 24-hour span.
That's
mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. Because when Endgame came out, there were still people catching up. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you're in now, you're in. Spider-Man isn't going to bring any new people in. Endgame did, but now people that are all in. So when something like this drops and it has the references to the Tobey Maguire stuff and people who watched the Spider-Man movies in the early 2000s, those people are all in.
Yeah, I think it actually will probably bring some new people in. There were a ton of people that I know personally that when Endgame came out, they finally sat down and watched all of the Marvel movies, all 20 something of them, 23. I think it's going to kind of be the same thing with Spider-Man. It's going to bring a lot of new people in because I feel like there are people who grew up watching those Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire who never really hopped in the MCU train. But now, once they find out, oh shit, is Tobey Maguire Spider-Man going to relate to this? Then they're going to hop into the Spider-Man and MCU universe.
That's a great point. That's a great point. There are people who probably they remember the Green Goblin and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Dr. Octopus, Alfred Molina actually came back. For those who haven't seen the trailer, spoiler alert, make sure you watch it. A
person that comes to mind is our dad. We watched all 3 of those Spider-Man movies with him, with us growing up. We were young. We went and saw it in theaters, and he's never really been a huge MCU guy. He hasn't watched. He's seen a couple of the Iron Mans maybe, but he hasn't watched all the Avengers. Maybe now that, the Spider-Mans that he saw 10, 15 years ago, maybe that's going to spark him to want to see how it connects to what's going on with the new Spider-Man.
Yeah, I showed him the trailer, and you see the pumpkin bomb and you hear the Green Goblins laugh, and you're like, oh, it's so sick.
Yeah.
Today's National Dog Day. Got any dogs you'd like to shout out?
Dog?
I
thought you meant I instantly went to hot dogs. I was going to be like Nathan's. But dogs, obviously my dog, Luigi, you don't get much better. I don't know if we should have had a picture ready of our little Luigi, little Yorkie, complete shithead. But yeah, that's my shout out. I stole yours right from under your feet.
Well, because he's our dog, not yours. Complete selfish asshole. I love that little guy. He's annoying as shit. He barks way too much. You might hear him in this show every now and again if someone rings the doorbell while we're recording. But hey, National Dog Day. Shout out to all the dogs.
Yeah.
Speaking of dogs, let's talk about Miguel Cabrera.
He's a dog.
He's a dog.
He's a fucking dog.
He's probably, in the last 10 years, the best player besides Trout. Because
he's up there. You think of some Albert Pujols has been really good.
Yeah, I think his best two seasons, 2012 and 2013, were the two best individual seasons of the 2010s. Like Trout's career, Pujols' career, A-Rod's career, they might all be, slightly above. But I think with what Miggy did in those years where he won the Triple Crown, he's the only person to do it in like 50 years. And then he almost did it the second year. I think it's pretty wild. So 500 career home runs. He did it last Sunday in Toronto. And this man is incredible. Some words on Miguel Cabrera before I dive into some stats that I have actually ready for you here.
I'm excited to hear these stats, but one thing I'll say is, he was sitting at 499, I feel like, for quite a while. We all knew he was going to get to 500. It was just a matter of when. And, it was cool seeing it. You even saw, the other team acknowledging it. It was an away stadium, and even the Toronto fans were on their feet, giving him the standing ovation he deserves. So, I mean, like you said, he's been one of the best players growing up that we've been watching. So, I mean, nothing but good things to say about Miguel Cabrera.
Miguel Cabrera had a 10-year span of 100 RBIs, 25 home runs, and a 300 average.
I hope you don't have the answers to this trivia question we have on the screen in your little notes here.
What team has Miguel Cabrera hit the most home runs against? We were warned that we were getting a trivia question halfway through talking about him. I'm going to guess it's either the Minnesota Twins or the Cleveland Indians.
I'm going with
I know it's not the White Sox because I looked it up. I wrote an article about, unless I'm going to look dumb if it is the White Sox. I'm almost positive it's not because in my article, I put his career numbers against the White Sox. They're gaudy. He did a lot of damage against them. I'm pretty sure they were third, if I remember correctly, but I'm going to go with either Minnesota. I'll say Minnesota.
I'm saying Cleveland. He probably hit at least 50 against Cleveland.
Yeah, I think it was 41 against the White Sox. It is Cleveland. Okay. There you go. So 10 straight seasons, each with 100 RBIs, 25 home runs, and a 300 average. Tell me that's not banana lands.
I want to say he had 46 against, the Twins.
Are you going to acknowledge my stat?
I just said. Yeah, that's insane.
That's 1,000 RBIs in a 10-year span. Yeah, you have it looked up. You're a complete weasel. Nobody falls for your junk. There are two players in MLB history with 500 career home runs and 2 batting titles. Miguel Cabrera and Ted Williams, who is arguably the greatest hitter ever.
Damn.
So that's one that I found amazing. And then this third one just completely blew my mind. Only two players ever have 500 home runs, a 300 career average, and 3,000 hits. Henry Aaron and Willie Mays. Miguel Cabrera is 42 hits away from 3,000. So he would be the third once he reaches that milestone. I would think he does. I'm not sure this season. We'll see. 42 hits in the final month and change. I'm going to say no. It'll be early next season.
How old is he?
He's in his late 30s. He's almost done. I mean, You get to 500 home runs most of the time. You're almost done.
Yeah, and he's got to get that 3,000 hit mark, right?
I would want it.
How many players have hit 500 home runs before the 3,000 hits of the players who've done both?
I'm pretty sure.
Is that common to do? I feel like the 3,000 hits should come first.
Yeah, I don't know. That's actually a really good question. I never even thought about that. I know I saw something about Pujols being the only player with 600 home runs and Pujols being the only one with 600 home runs and 3,000 hits. But he had a lot more power than Miggy. Miggy, at one point, was just the best hitter. Like, his average was impeccable. He hit for power, contact. He
Played
played
on
third
some
base early on.
Good Detroit teams too.
Well, I was going to bring that up. Those Detroit teams in the mid 2010s ruined my life.
Mm-hmm.
Playing in the same division as the White Sox, making multiple ALCS runs. I think they had 2 runs to the World Series and lost them both, or at least one. There was the one where Boston, remember when Big Papi hit the grand slam and me and you blew fireworks off in the street?
We talked about that last week with Gabrielle. That was one of the best series I've ever watched. So
yeah, I mean, think about that Detroit team. In the middle of the lineup was JD Martinez, Miguel Cabrera, Prince Fielder. I want to say Victor Martinez was on that team as well. Then their pitching was Porcello, Verlander, Scherzer, guy who went to the Nationals. Besides Scherzer.
Did you say David Price? Was he on that team?
David Price made his way over there at one point. Anibal Sanchez, that's who I'm thinking of. Played for Detroit. So it was a solid team, and Miguel Cabrera was right in the middle of it. But that stat with Henry Aaron and Willie Mays, that blew my mind.
Yeah. I mean, talk about a prestigious list. You can't get much better than that. So
no, you can't. And I will say, you often think of the greatest right-handed hitters of all time. I think the big hurt, Frank Thomas, is right there. I would say Manny Ramirez is right there. And then you got to include Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah.
Those 3.
One thing you said to me right after he did it was the most recent player to hit 500.
Yep,
And
David Ortiz. 2015.
Just want to give a shout out to my guy Big Papi. I know he's listening. So.
Oh, the more we talk about our good friend David Ortiz on this show, the better. Obviously. I will say, I really want to see somebody else reach 500, and the list of upcoming players that have a chance to do so is not very fruitful. You look at the active home run leaders. The only ones that are close that I think are young enough to have a chance are Giancarlo Stanton and Mike Trout.
2 Mikes.
Literally.
2 Mikes going at it. You don't think Nelson Cruz has a shot?
He's 41.
Oh, is he that old?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Nelson was that old. I knew he was old, but
if he really, really, really played and hit, I mean, I don't even know how many he has.
He's been playing for 17 years. He's 40.
He's got to be over 450, right?
He's got 443. I don't know when this list I have pulled up was made. It could be prior to the season starting.
I have a take.
Let's hear it. Eloy.
If he wants it, he could get it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that your take was you're going to bring up Eloy, like he's going to do it.
I do think Eloy's going to do it. I do think Eloy is going to do it. I think he's the only active White Sox player that has a chance. Luis Roberts, a little more committed to being an all-around good hitter. So is Eloy, but I think Eloy has the most natural power on the White Sox. Moncada doesn't have enough power. TA doesn't have enough power. Abreu's too old. I absolutely think Eloy can do it. What does he have, 50 already? And it's been 2.5 years? I mean,
isn't he the fastest White Sox to get to however many?
To 50 ever? Yeah. I mean, I wholeheartedly believe. Now, here's the thing. He needs to stop karate chopping outfield walls. He needs to stop dangling from outfield walls like he's Spider-Man, no pun intended. He needs to stop running into netting and getting himself lodged in between seats in empty stadiums. There are lots of things he needs to stop doing in order to stay healthy. But as long as he's not a complete dummy out there, yeah, I think he could get to 500.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. I'm looking at this, and at 29 years old, at 310 home runs, which, again, I don't know if this list was made before the season. I think Mike Trout will get there eventually.
Yeah, he's 30 now. His birthday was August 7th. He turned 30.
Okay, so this is probably prior to this year.
I think Trout has a chance.
Yeah, I would say.
The power needs to stay with him throughout his mid to late 30s as he begins to come down from his prime.
Yeah.
What about Mike Stanton? Your boy.
I'm going to say probably not. just because I don't know. I don't see him necessarily playing as long as like Miggy or Pujols. I just don't see it.
He's got a contract long enough.
I know, but it seems like he's already like his average isn't that great. It seems like he strikes out or hits a tank. At least that's what I say. I don't watch every Yankee fan. I know Yankees fans probably rip my head off for talking poorly about Mike, but I don't know. I don't see him playing as long as Miggy or Pujols or some of those guys.
It's going to be interesting. Watching guys hit 500 home runs is sweet. And like I said, there's really no front runner to be the next one to do it. I do think if Nelson Cruz signs with an American League Central team, so he can keep playing the White Sox where he averages about 6 a season, and he probably does pretty well against the likes of the Royals and the Tigers as well. We'll see what he decides to do. But if he wants it, he could probably get it in the next 2 to 3 years. He has not stopped hitting bombs. His power stroke has not gone away. So, I mean, I don't know how good he would play a year from now or 2 years from now. But being 41 years old, I'm probably going to put the X on that for him.
You know who's pretty young and has 250 plus home runs already?
Are you going to say Bryce Harper?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to say.
Bryce Harper could. He needs to continue having seasons like he's having right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's possible.
He has been pretty up and down, I'd say, in the past.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I root for a guy like Bryce. So, I don't know. I'm all for it. Yeah. Juan Soto. It's hard to like peg these young guys because they all only have, say, 40 or 50 by now. But I certainly think it's possible that if these guys keep on their current trajectory, they could. Like Fernando Tatis Jr., if he decided to have 500 career home runs, would you be at all surprised? I wouldn't.
Yeah, no. But like you said, these young guys, it's impossible to map out, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm plugging in my computer here.
You're good. Just very unprepared.
Call me
what do you got on the TV?
I'm prepared with stats. I got all these stats and notebooks for days.
What's on your TV right now? I saw you glancing.
Get out of my face. Don't talk to me.
Don't hate
Carlos Rodon just gave up a bomb to Semien, so it's 1-0 Blue Jays.
You're supposed to keep our audience engaged and updated on that. I don't have it on a TV. I can't do that. So
what's on your TV?
A white screen. I don't have cable in here, and you know that. So
I know, that's why I brought it up. The New York Yankees are probably one of the more annoying teams going in baseball right now. They are so good. Talk to me about the AL East.
I am sad. 7.5 games back from my Bo Sox. I don't want to say I'm out, but the Rays are really good and the Yankees are really hot. Yeah, you can say the Yankees are really good, but I honestly just think they are fucking so hot. What are they, 11 win streak? Is that it still, or did that end?
Yeah, it's still going. I don't believe they played yesterday, or I would have to look that up, actually. I forgot to look at what the Yankees' schedule upcoming is, knowing we were going to talk about the AL East, but
it sucks and it makes me sad because I had it coming, because right when they acquired fucking Joey Gallo, and then I made fun of it, and then the next day I was getting ready, you know, Anthony Rizzo's coming to the Red Sox. I was so happy. You showed your picture on here, and all of a sudden he's not coming to the Red Sox. He's going to the fucking Yankees, who are 6 games back of the Red Sox. And then since that point, since I was so mad at that, it's just like they've been shoving it in my face. The only fucking bad game it seems I had was the Field of Dreams game, which they fucking played amazing in that too. And they won the next 2 against the White Sox. It sucks. 7.5 games back at not the right time to fall that low under the Yankees and very, very good Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, they were off yesterday, so it's an 11-game winning streak after sweeping the Atlanta Bravos, who went into that game with a very good streak going as well. One thing I will say, the players helping the Yankees win 11 straight games are the players that were already there. Giancarlo Stanton, hot. Aaron Judge, white hot. Luke Voit, who they got Anthony Rizzo to replace, even though he led the league in home runs last season. Voit. He's been on fire. I'm pretty sure of the qualified hitters, Joey Gallo's been their worst hitter since being acquired. So that's the funny part. Anthony Rizzo has not been great since coming back from his COVID-19 diagnosis. And every team they've played going into the Braves series had a under 500 combined winning percentage. So they are beating up on some bad teams.
Yeah, but I can't use that. I don't want to use that because I fucking hate when people say that, like about the
White Sox.
It makes me.
I agree. No. I'm not using it against them in terms of how great they are. I'm using it as elite teams are supposed to go on runs like that when they play those teams. That's what makes you an elite team. I never hold you against you for being good against the teams on your schedule. Your schedule is your schedule. It's predetermined for you. You play it as is. It makes sense to me that the Yankees found a spark here at this point in the season because they are a great team. They were a great team. And now that they finally found some momentum, they are able to take advantage of these lesser teams. And then what did they do? They went right in and beat the Braves, who are a good team. So, yeah, nothing but respect for what the Yankees have done.
And they swept the Red Sox. Like, you can say what you want about the Red Sox record. And, like, those games are never easy. Before all this, when the Red Sox were, like, you know, in first place, their record against the Yankees was like 7-1.
Yeah, 100%.
So I mean,
they won the season series against the Yankees. Even if I believe it's 10-3 right now, or no, it's 10-6 right now. So even if they go to Fenway and get swept later in September, the Red Sox still will have won the season series.
Yeah. Sucks.
The NL West. We're getting into, because of the fact that it's the crosstown week, we're diving into the rest of the MLB early in this show.
I like that.
Yeah. NL West.
Do you agree with me now?
About what?
I said, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I said I'm not scared of the Padres. The Padres are dunzo.
I don't know if I would say they're dunzo. I would say I would be worried if I were a Padres fan. The Reds caught them. They're currently playing the Brew Crew right now and winning 1-0. And I bring up the Reds. They're not in that division. They're battling for the wild card because the Padres have no chance at the division at this point. They will play, if they make the wild card, they will play one of the Giants or Dodgers, depending on who wins that division, or they will miss out entirely to the Reds. So,
or don't count out the Phillies yet for that wild card spot.
I'm counting out the Phillies. That's my take. Sorry, Gabrielle. You're one of my favorite guests we've ever had. I'm out on the Phillies.
I don't know how you can't really count out the Phillies right now.
I'm out on the Phillies. I don't care where they are in the standings. I don't trust them. Bryce Harper's having an MVP season, and nobody gets on base for this man. And I'm out on the Phillies.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of baseball left to just be out on them.
Sure is. And I'm so out on them. The only way, I think they have a better chance of passing the Braves to win the division than they do making the wild card.
You're crazy.
I'm not.
If the Padres do end up getting that wild card spot, do you think they can put together a one-game effort and then, you know, maybe just find it in a series against?
Yes. If they have a one-game wild card. What was the pitching matchup yesterday? Let's get into this. You want to get tough on me right now? Let's get into this.
Tough on
last night, the Padres played the Dodgers. Okay, it was one of the most epic games of the season. It was 6.5 hours, 16 innings. I watched the entire thing. Yes, yeah, I know.
I'm a maniac. You didn't like tell me about it.
I'm a maniac. I know. The White Sox just tied the game. It is a home run for Cesar Hernandez. Back to last night. You're a baseball guy. It's not on me to tell you when there's epicness going on. You choose to play Minecraft or whatever it is you do.
When a game starts at fucking 9 p.m. and goes 16 innings, how am I supposed to know about that? I went to bed.
How did I know about it?
You were fucking watching it from the beginning.
Of course I was. I'm always watching baseball. And then when hockey starts, I'm going to be...
You shoot me a text. Be like, dude, are you watching this? Dude, this is history. Like, dude, This is the longest game with a runner starting on second base every fucking time in the history of the rule.
I'm gonna start annoying the crap out of you now when cool shit like that's going on. I hope you're ready.
If it's in a 16th inning and in a fucking these are our teams. This is our division.
It is our favorite division to talk about right now. Can I get back to my point, please?
Yeah, let's hear it.
To start the game, it was who? Blake Snell and Walker Buehler. That would probably be the matchup if these two teams play each other in the NL wildcard game. And I need it like I need air. I texted our good pal Nick the other day that I need Garrett Cole versus Chris Sale in a one-game American League wildcard game at either Yankee Stadium or Fenway Park. I don't give a shit. I need it like I need air. Well, same thing goes on the NL. I need Blake Snell versus Walker Buehler like I need air. Oh, if they even want to use Yu Darvish, I don't think that would be too much of an issue either. I'm fairly confident the Dodgers would use Buehler over anyone else. But these two dueled yesterday, and the Padres were winning 1-0. And then in the 8th, on his 118th pitch or 112th pitch, something like that, Snell gave up a bomb, and the Dodgers tied the game. Yeah, there were some Kevin Cash jokes rolling across Twitter.com last night. Oh, yeah. The Kevin Cash jokes were heat last night. Because for those who don't know, Kevin Cash, the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays, pulled Blake Snell in the World Series after 73 pitches because the computers told him to.
He didn't pull him, the computer did.
Yeah. So, yeah, Blake Snell, Walker Buehler, that was fantastic last night. I've never seen a game quite like it because of like what you alluded to. It is the longest game in the history of the new extra inning rule era. And I loved every second of it. There was strategy. There were pitchers coming up to pinch hit, which I hate the National League for that reason. But the fact that they'd pitch to Tatis Jr. with no outs, runner on second, and then they would walk Machado and Cronenworth to get to the 6-hitter every single time. What do you think?
That's what we were talking about. We were talking about, how to go about those long extra inning games, and walking the guy to get the runner on first and second. I don't think is a bad idea one bit. Do you agree?
You said with one out?
If you get the one out, yeah, you have to get a forced double play, or you have to get a double play opportunity. And I agree.
I think it depends too. So, like, I brought this example up to you off camera. Let's say the White Sox are the home team, and you're looking at it from their opponent point of view. Like, you're rooting for the opponent. And Moncada made the last out of the 9th inning, so he's the extra runner on second. So there's some good speed out there on second base.
Mm-hmm.
And you get Abreu out. Jimenez comes up, runner on second, one out. After him is Brian Goodwin. You're walking Jimenez and taking your chances with Goodwin's a good hitter, but you're taking your chances with him over Eloy. I mean, I think situational stuff kind of goes into it, don't you?
Mm-hmm. And I think that's it's probably the most strategic you've ever had to play baseball with a runner automatically starting on second. And the fact that this game was able to go 16 innings, it says something. I wish I would have watched it because I wanted to see how did they go about it? Like, what was their strategy? How do you go an extra 7 innings with a runner automatically starting on second? Was there a lot of the Dodgers scoring and then the Padres tying it?
No, that never happened. The Dodgers scored in the top of the 16th, and that was it.
That's crazy.
And I'll tell you, there was one inning where I want to say it was Cronenworth started on second base. I could be wrong on who was on second, but Hosmer came up.
It happened once. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it happened once. In the 15th inning, the Dodgers scored 2 runs, and then the Padres
You're right.
scored.
That did happen.
That's crazy.
That did happen. For those at home, it was 3 a.m. Your boy was in and out of sleeping by the 16th inning. I mean, I got a lot of shit to do, and I need some sleep, but I tried so hard to hang on, and I do remember the final pitch, but you're right. The Dodgers did tie it. Or the Padres did tie it. Anyway, like I said, there was one inning, the runner on second advanced to third, Hosmer ground out. So there's one out, runner on third. You're almost like, if you hit the ball out of the infield to some capacity, you're probably going to win the game. And then you realize who the Dodgers have in the outfield, those absolute ropes on some of those guys. And they're not all getting tested every single time because people know that you can't make that third out of the inning at the plate. And the Padres just couldn't. I've never seen Fernando Tatis Jr. have a game like that either. He did nothing.
Yeah, well, I'm sure like a lot of the top guys came out of the lineup eventually, right?
No.
They played the entire 16?
Pretty much. Machado was intentionally walked, I want to say 2 straight innings or 2 out of 3 innings, and Cronenworth right after him to load the bases both times. I couldn't believe how Tatis just couldn't find a way to win the game in one of his 3 opportunities. Like, normally you expect that guy to come up clutch.
Yeah, or someone with the. I mean, obviously the Dodgers ended up winning, but someone in that lineup, especially, like you think it would get it done before that.
The Padres had their fair share of walking Trey Turner. Bellinger got a hit 1 inning, and that put the guy on third. I want to say there was so much that it's hard to remember every little detail, but I remember Bellinger had a big hit, and he almost got rung up in a double play at first because of a laser that was hit to Hosmer at first, and he caught it and went to tag him as he dove back to first, and Bellinger like slid around the tag. It was actually pretty sweet. It was a good baseball game. It was a well-played game by both teams.
And I think I saw earlier it was the longest game since 2019.
In terms of like the clock, the real clock, or innings?
That's a good point. I don't know.
I'm assuming both.
Innings. I'm
assuming both. Well, I know it's innings. A game with the extra inning rule with the runner on second never got past 14 innings in 2020 or 2021 to this point.
Yeah, I think so. I just looked up the longest games in MLB history, and they're all the length. All is determined by innings. So I don't know if they even take the clock into consideration. Yeah. What do you think the longest game is?
It was probably between the White Sox and the Yankees.
No,
or the White Sox and the Rangers. I'm almost positive the White Sox are involved in the longest game ever.
Am I wrong? This is saying it's the Brooklyn Robins and the Boston Braves.
That don't even count.
Yeah. Why doesn't it count? It says MLB.
That's a fairy tale.
Okay.
That didn't happen.
I guess in the modern MLB era, the Chicago White Sox and the Milwaukee Brewers played 25 innings.
The Brew Crew. I knew we had a lot in common with the Wisconsin folk.
25 innings. That's what I love about baseball. There's no fucking clock.
I hate clocks too. I don't let man tell me what time
it's the only sport where it can literally take 2 hours or 5 hours, and I love that.
Yep.
Like, yeah, a hockey game might go to overtime or something, and I'm not gonna sit here and bash hockey. It's my favorite sport. But the I don't know the word, the randomness, the unpredictability of baseball, I fucking love it.
Because with the intentional walks and the mound visits, every single extra inning took forever. And I kind of like that. I like that.
How do they adjust the rules with mound visits? Do they award teams more mound visits per?
I don't know. I don't know, because there was a couple times where Victor Caratini, shout out Cub fans, the catcher for the Padres, he went out there to talk to Machado, Hosmer, the pitcher, whoever it was. Adam Frazier's their second baseman now from the Pirates. The White Sox wanted him really bad. He went out as like the pitching coach many times. So I'm assuming no.
You're not awarded more?
I'm assuming no, unless you're taking them out. You get your mound visits and you get your mound visits. But it was a great game. If you're looking for some highlights because you're bored, Padres Dodgers from last night. Good stuff. Can't wait to watch the series finale tonight.
Did either team have to tap into another starter in their rotation coming out of a bullpen, or no? Did they just all
Musgrove hit?
Oh, okay.
He didn't pitch. He didn't pitch. He hit, and that's part of why I hate the rule, because this man gets to 2 strikes, and this is a proper imitation of strike 3. For those listening, I acted like I was watching a baseball go right down the middle without swinging. Yeah. Infuriating. that all their bench players were wasted from earlier in the game, so they had to use pitchers to pinch hit with the winning run on base. Oh, it just I couldn't. The bases were loaded with 2 outs.
I mean, that's literally like talk about a chess match of a baseball game.
Yeah, it literally is like a board game at that point.
Yeah.
So
credit to the Dodgers for coming out on top in that one.
Before we move on, Giants, Dodgers, Padres, is that if you got to lock that in as your guess for the final order, would you say yes, or do you think the Doyers are going to pass the Giants?
I still think it's possible that the Dodgers pass the Giants.
Oh, it's certainly possible. 2.5 games could happen by the weekend.
Because I'll stick by it until I'm proven wrong. I think they're the better team.
Oh, I think they're the better team. I don't know if they're I don't know how to describe what I'm thinking. I don't know if that matters in terms of like wins and losses.
All it
The
takes
Giants,
is a good series. All it takes is a good series. When do they play each other next? That's the real question.
But every time the Giants and Dodgers play, it's like, oh, here's where the Dodgers take the lead in the division. And then the Giants either win the series or sweep them. Or the Giants are just a well put together, oiled machine. The Dodgers have all this talent. I mean, Buehler and Kershaw lead the rotation. You know you're good when you like take out Trevor Bauer because he's a shitbag, and you replace him with Max Scherzer because you could just go out and make those types of trades because your farm system's so deep.
They start a 3-game series September 3rd, the final meeting between the two teams in San Francisco.
Let's go. Can't wait for that. Honestly, cannot wait for that. That's going to be a big show. That's going to be a big series for this show.
Yeah, I believe
we might as well call each other cross-country crosstalk because we love talking about the AL East and the NL West as if our favorite teams play in those divisions.
Literally from coast to coast, yeah.
But here's the thing. I don't like any of the teams in the AL Central. So I don't want to particularly talk about them as much as, I mean, I'll talk about all 30 teams because I love baseball. But like the AL Central kind of sucks. The White Sox are
how it goes.
Dumbing through it.
When you like other teams, like when you're a fan of the league like we are, and you obviously have your team, you pretty much like a lot of the divisions except your own. You're not going to like your own division because that's going to be like typically the rivals of your team. So
that's why the All-Star game is always hilarious. Like if the game's in LA, like it's going to be next season. And now the outfielder from the San Francisco Giants, Mike Yastremski. Boo! Even though every single person in that crowd would cheer their balls off if Yastremski hit a home run to give the National League a 1-0 lead. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it's like that in every sport. Like in hockey, when the All-Star game was in Tampa Bay, and like all the Bruins would just get booed, but then when they would score, like they would have to cheer. Like they want their fucking team to win.
Patrick Kane in St. Louis comes to mind too.
Exactly. Perfect.
They're booing his ass, and then he scores for the Central Division, and it's like, oh, we're St. Louis fans. We have to cheer for Patrick Kane. Yay!
Yeah.
So last from the MLB in general that I wanted to get to, unless you have something else, Shohei Ohtani. We talk about this man like no other. He hit his 41st bomb of the season. The Angels are currently losing 8-1 to the Baltimore Orioles, who ended their 19-game losing streak yesterday. And Ohtani's home run is the only run of the ball game for the Angels. But it's his 41st home run. He's in Cy Young contention. This guy, he's a video game.
Yeah, you almost kind of feel bad for him. Like the fact that he's not really gonna, he's not gonna have a chance. And this could be very well the best season of his career. He's a remarkable player, but is he gonna do this every single year?
He might have like a 30 home run season and a slightly over 2 ERA, like a good year on both sides, like a great year on both sides. He's in Cy Young competition, and like
he's gonna hit 50.
He's not gonna win the Triple Crown because Abreu's so far ahead of him but like if he had a huge RBI week and like got in the Triple Crown race, it would surprise no one.
He's been on the same team as who now? Who's on his team?
Mike Trout, who hasn't played since May.
He is the fastest player in Angels history to reach 40 home runs.
That's remarkable. And that's remarkable for more than just Trout, because Trout's power came a little later. Trout does have power, but it's not what he's known for. Vladimir Guerrero Sr. not getting to that point is like crazy to me.
Yeah.
Now, are you saying to begin a career or a season?
I think a season.
If it's a season, then that's banana lands, because some great players like Pujols played, not necessarily in his prime. What?
I don't know. I got that from Bleacher Report. All it said was fastest to reach 40 in Angels history. So I actually don't know.
It's a single season because he had home runs before this year. Yeah, 100%. 100%. He had like, he was the first pitcher to have 10 and 10 wins and 10 home runs in his rookie year or something like that. No, it's definitely for the season, which that's crazy, because I remember when Vladimir Guerrero Sr. was in, that organization. I know he played for the Expos too, but yeah.
Speaking of Vlad Guerrero, before we finish up the MLB, they showed his comparables.
Oh, to his dad?
To Vlad Guerrero Jr.
You saw that yesterday?
They showed it on the White Sox broadcast. Through their first however many games played they have. I don't understand how you can be that close. Like, I think he was cloned.
I don't know. A lot of people, I have things in common with our dad. I don't know if I have anything in common with him as much as these two guys have in their career numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's crazy talk. Their average is like 0.2 off each other.
They're like
their
less
career
than
home runs. I think one junior had like 2 more home runs.
Yeah, or like hits or something. Something's like within 10.
Their OPS, or not their OPS, their on base percentage were within 1. So, I mean, shout out to the Guerrero family. I mean,
yeah. And I remember when he like made his MLB debut, Vlad Guerrero, they would like put videos of his swing, even his swing, next to his dad, and it was literally an identical swing.
Junior's a lot thicker.
Oh yeah,
he's got that wagon.
Yeah,
he's got that wagon ass.
That's the modern. That's the young era for it.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not playing third base, which surprises me. He came up as a third baseman. He's literally on my screen right now because TA just got a hit, and he's yucking it up with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on first base right now. He's a big boy, and he's playing first base. He's a big boy, and I'm pretty sure he lost weight during the offseason, like 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And I know baseball players put on weight or do they put on weight or lose weight? I can't remember what it was. It was like there was a difference between like the beginning of the year and the end of the year for the average player, but man, he's good. And
if I have to guess, I don't know. I know for football players, they put on weight in the off season because they lose a lot of weight during the season.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if baseball players gained weight during the season from all the beers they crush on the planes. And I'm being dead serious.
I know. They
eat pasta like after every game. Like they load up on carbs. There are guys like Tim Anderson and Chris Sale who are paper thin, but there are some thick boys playing the game of baseball right now. Lance Lynn. If some health nut tried to tell Lance Lynn to lay off the pasta after a big win, he'd say, "Hey, buddy, get the hell out of here."
Yeah.
Imagine telling Lance Lynn he can't have like a cookie after a big win. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, why? I mean, if anything, some of these guys, it probably helps them being a bigger guy.
No doubt about it. So let's move over to sweet home Chicago. And we'll lead off with the Cubs. And by leading off with the Cubs, I want to ask you. Their opponent over the last couple of days has been the Colorado Rockies. Are the Colorado Rockies the most confusing team in Major League Baseball history in the year 2021? And for those looking for context, here's why. They are 43-22 at home. They lead. We just got done talking about the NL West, and we talked about their top 3 in the division, the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Padres. The Rockies have more home wins than all 3 of them. They are 43-22, and it's the same winning percentage as the Dodgers, better than the Padres, and the Giants have played less games at home, so I'm not a math guy. I don't know. They are, however, 15-47 on the road, which is the least in the division by far. And I'm looking right now, it looks to be the worst mark in the National League. Let's check the American League. Yep, it is the worst mark in the American League, or in either league. The least amount of wins on the road, the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it last week.
We touched on it a little bit
when previewing the Cubs series about how, if they put a couple good series together here, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, they got swept by the Royals, but
didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I did say 2-1. I thought the Royals might sneak one, or the Cubs might sneak one, but getting swept by them, no, I didn't really see that coming.
But then we kind of nailed it with the Rockies, because they're that bad on the road, and I don't think it's necessarily them being a confusing team. I would love to see it over the course of like a bigger stretch, like a longer period of time, because if it's just this group of Rockies, then maybe that's something like, okay, these guys, that's weird. But I don't know. Maybe Colorado has something to do with it. I honestly think that's the case, and that they're just always going to be a better team at home opposed to on the road.
How are you that bad on the road? Like, I get it. Colorado has its advantages for players who play there. And yeah, I'm talking about them when talking about the Cubs because, yeah, they just played the Cubs and they went to Wrigley and looked like dog meat. The Cubs are not great. I'm like, it's not even hater Vinny talking. They traded away all their players. Their best players, Patrick Wisdom. Like, the Rockies, for a record like that at home, you'd think they'd be a little bit better on the road than they have been. The White Sox just took a 3-run lead thanks to a home run by Luis Robert.
That's my guy. So you got 2 bombs. That's the only runs in that game. A Cesar Hernandez solo shot and a 2-run home run by
Robert. Yep. Hyun-Jin Ryu has given up 3. Back to the Rockies and Cubs.
Yeah. He's on squad.
Did you think I get roasted for talking about the Rockies when we bring up the Cubs? Is that not fair to think that the Cubs would just squash them? And they did. What did they take? 2 out of 3? There was a rain out.
They took 2 out of 3 and put up 10 runs in their loss.
Yeah, exactly. How are the Rockies? And Wrigley Field is a very Cub friendly place. Like, the Cubs, they play well there. The crowd is great. And I just cannot believe what I'm seeing from the Rockies, and the Cubs series against them just made it that much. Like, I thought the Rockies are a better team than the Cubs on paper. I'll say it. I think they are, except on the road. So if the Cubs went to Colorado and played them, would they get swept? Do you understand where my confusion comes from and why I bring it up in the first place?
I do. Who was it I was just looking at is playing a series with the Rockies upcoming up? I mean, it's interesting to take note of the rest of the way. Like, why not bet on the Rockies every time they're at home?
That's what I'm saying. And this was brought to my attention. I'm not going to take credit and make people think that I'm the one that realized this. This was brought to my attention by Jeff Passan. Jeff Passan pointed out that there were 7.5 teams that have no chance. This was 2 weeks ago, so things have obviously clamped up a little bit more as this has gone on. But about 2 weeks ago, it was there were 7.5 teams that had no chance at the wild card whatsoever. And I think 5 games is where you consider chance or no chance. 7.5 teams are considered bad. Well, who's half a team? Oh, Colorado's half a team because they're that different split on the home and road. Like, they're White Sox good in Colorado, and they're Baltimore Orioles bad on the road. I just don't get it. It makes no sense to me. And the Cubs, they took advantage.
What is before? I guess we can wait to talk about the White Sox to really dive into it. But don't the White Sox have a significantly better record at home?
Not like that.
I know, not like that. That's
the Rockies. The White Sox are 42-23 at guaranteed rate field.
Isn't that the same amount of wins?
Yeah, same amount of wins. It looks like they've played a couple more home games.
So that's pretty comparable, actually.
Yes, exactly. They're 31 and 32 on the road. If they hang on and win this game in Toronto, they'll be 500.
So, I mean, it's not crazy.
It is crazy because being 500 on the road as opposed to being 15 games under 500 on the road is a big difference. You kind of want that from your team. If I told you that there's a drive to deep left field by Jose Abreu and that'll be a home run and that'll make it a 4-1 ball game. That was perfect.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
I don't know if I'll ever put on this.
I don't know if I'll ever put on this headset again, whether it be for my bosses at the Barroom Network.
Shout out to Rick Castellanos' anniversary home run.
Nick Castellanos.
Nick Castellanos.
Goober. I hope the White Sox go for him this offseason, but that's a story for another day. You kind of, if you're an elite team, right? You're the White Sox, right? You're a White Sox fan, Cub fan, whatever you are. You're going into the season with World Series expectations, right? You think to yourself, what do I want to see this season? You got to dominate the bad teams. You have to dominate at home. You have to tread water against other elite teams, and you have to tread water on the road. That's what the White Sox are doing. I look at a team like Colorado, and I think to myself, if they would have treaded water on the road, not been elite, just tread water on the road, they're in the mix with the Padres for the wild card. I mean, am I wrong? I'm looking at some other teams that are considered elite in the standings. The Red Sox are 32 and 30 on the road, so right there with the White Sox around 500. The Astros are 34 and 27. That's good, but it's not great.
You might have just answered your own question though when bringing up being up there with the Padres. Look at their division. Colorado is a tough place to play. There's no doubt about that. It's been proven across the world of sports.
42 and 19 at home.
It's a tough place to play.
You're saying in the grand scope of sports? Tom Brady's under 500 against the Broncos in Denver?
Yes. So that is just so true that Colorado's a tough place to play. The Rockies are used to it. They're good. But now the Rockies are still not that great of a team, yet they have that advantage of playing at home. Now, okay, they got to go on the road. Where are they going? They're going Dodger Stadium. They're going to the Giants, whatever that stadium's called.
Oracle Park.
Oracle Park. And then the Padres. Like their division is stacked of, tough buildings to also go and play in. So there's your answer from me.
But are you telling me the Padres or the Rockies are significantly worse than the Cubs? That they can't come to Wrigley Field and be better than what they looked like over the last 3 days? I mean, the Cubs looked like the old Cubs for most of this series.
No, I think the Rockies are pretty bad, yeah. And I think that you think they're better based off their home record.
Because I just can't fathom being 42 and 19 at home and calling them a bad team.
It's a tough place to play.
Because the Dodgers go there. The Giants go there. The Padres go there.
And obviously the Rockies are somewhat
Who are the other elite teams in the NL? The Braves go there.
And obviously the Rockies are somewhat successful, playing against those teams in their own barn.
You're not wrong. And I'm going to be interested to see what the final. I'm going to be interested to see what the final numbers look like before the end of the season. But hey, kudos to the Cubs for taking care of their business at home. Patrick Wisdom. This dude is unbelievable. I'm starting to see people like bringing him up in the Rookie of the Year conversation. I don't think I never really looked into if he's even eligible, but I saw someone tweet it. And whether he is or not, he has to be proud of everything that he's accomplished so far this season.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm seeing now this season he just recently hit his 21st home run?
Yep.
If you would have asked any Cub fan going into this year if he would have 20 plus home runs, I would have said probably not, right?
Yeah, so it makes you think. If you kept Rizzo, you kept Bryant, you kept Baez. That means you probably have 5 or 6 guys with north of 20 home runs on the season. So why were they losers of 11 straight? Why are they 10 under? Why are they forced to trade all the guys on expiring contracts? And it all leads back to one thing for me.
Yeah, I think I know.
Starting pitching.
I was going to say, if your name's not Kyle Hendricks, like they can't
Yeah, and I have hats off to Kyle Hendricks written on my notes here to be part of the conversation. He's like got an incredible record.
Yeah.
His ER, he's going to get top 10 Cy Young votes, I would think. He did last year, and he just does his job so well that he gives the Cubs a chance to win every fifth day. He's 14-5. I mean, going 14-5 on a team that seemingly has no chance. We were debating his Hall of Fame status over the weekend. He's not close to being a Hall of Famer. He's only got like a 22 career WAR. I don't know if he'll ever get close to that like 55, 60 mark. Actually, I'm fairly confident to say he won't. But he's got an ERA title. He's a World Series champion. He's got multiple top 5 Cy Young finishes. Great all-time great Cubs pitcher.
With all that being said, I agree 100%. In the time right now for the Chicago Cubs, can they get a return like the White Sox were able to get for Quintana or Sale to kind of spark this rebuild that they need?
Okay. The White Sox got lucky with Quintana.
100%.
That's not a dag to the Cubs. It's not a dag to Cub fans. They got lucky with Quintana. No way should that guy have returned a Cy Young caliber pitcher in Dylan Cease and a 50 bomb caliber hitter in Eloy. 50 bombs that's capable of hitting 300, no less. Like Miggy type shit. They got lucky with that. That's never going to happen again. Like, it'll happen again. Teams make bad trades in every sport throughout the course of time. Wayne Gretzky was traded in the middle of his prime. But like,
Cease, I could see. I don't know how a guy like Eloy was included in that trade.
Cease was their number one pitching prospect, and that's the only thing they haven't been able to do in the Theo Epstein era was develop pitching. They could have kept him. Quintana can't even pitch for the Angels. And their only good pitcher is Shohei Ohtani, who has 40 bombs, and they use him for his bat more.
Yeah.
Chris Sale, on the other hand.
Fair.
Can you argue they didn't even get enough? I mean, Yohan Moncada and Michael Kopech are sick.
They are, but they're not the reason the White Sox are as good as they are right now.
They were the start of the rebuild.
The start of it, yeah.
No, I would say the return for Quintana was better.
Yeah, I agree. So back to my
Unless
question.
Kopech turns into a frontline starter. If Kopech turns into a frontline starter, I would take that one. Because I think his ceiling is higher than Cease's. But Cease's floor is higher, if that makes sense.
I think if you were to put Kopech from the start of this season, I mean, we'll probably see it next season. If you were to put Kopech in Cease's position, he probably would succeed.
Yes, I agree. He's got the fastball. It's the best fastball in the American League, in my opinion.
But back to my question. Kyle, with the season Kyle Hendricks is having right now, and, I think it would be foolish not to at least try. You got to start your rebuild, like, now. Can they get something to really build off?
So, I got off the rails when I said I don't think, not Eloy level, that trade was lucky. But Hendricks is better than Quintana. He's not better than Sale. So somewhere in the middle, the Adam Eaton trade comes to mind. The White Sox got Lucas Giolito, who is a frontline starter. Reynaldo Lopez, who is a decent bullpen arm, back and forth between AAA and the majors. And Dane Dunning, who they traded 1-for-1 for Lance Lynn. Now, it's not Washington's fault that the White Sox were able to be crafty enough to land Lance Lynn and sign him out of Dane Dunning. That's all Rick Hahn. But if you can get a trade where you get a top 50 prospect, a top 100 prospect, and then maybe a top 120 prospect like Dane Dunning type, where you can maybe mold him into being a top 100 prospect like the White Sox did. Dane Dunning was like a top prospect by the time it was all said and done. But when Washington sent him over, he was the third piece in the deal. And he ended up turning into Lance Lynn, which you can argue makes him the most important player of the deal, including Giolito. So I'm going to say yes, they can do that for Kyle Hendricks. The only issue Kyle Hendricks has is you run into the issue of him turning into Dallas Keuchel because he's a soft tossing, need ground balls, few strikeouts, like stuff like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Kyle Hendricks' accuracy, his command needs to be on point to be effective. It has been up to this point in his career, but the second that starts to change a little bit, that's when stuff can kind of fall off the rails. But I would try if I were the Cubs. I would certainly try.
Yeah. What do you have to lose besides the prime of his career? That's the way I look at it.
Did they get what they needed out of Kyle Hendricks, though? Because he was a trade with the Texas Rangers back in the day. They developed him as a prospect after the trade. He won an ERA title. He came in third for the Cy Young, and one of the people that finished ahead of him was his teammate, John Lester, World Series champion, pitched in Game 7. Did he start Game 7 or come in relief? John Lester and him, one of them started and one came in relief in Game 7, and they both shoved. And they were both pulled too early. Either way, Kyle Hendricks has been great for the Cubs. They'll consider it. I would say Wilson Contreras is on the table as well.
Yeah. How old is Wilson Contreras?
Wilson Contreras, I don't know offhand. If I had to guess, I would say he's in his late 20s.
I was going to say, he's not 30 yet, is he?
No. He's worth a 7-year big money contract. When he comes back, I'm pretty sure he's on the 10-day IL right now. I wouldn't have him play another second at catcher this season if I were in charge. His knees, back, everything would be playing first base for the rest of the season. That way, if, let's say the Cubs have a good offseason, they make a big trade, they get MLB ready prospects for Hendricks, they sign one of the big free agent shortstops over this offseason, whether it's Baez or Correa or Trevor Story, one of those guys. I do think the Cubs are going to sign one of the big free agent shortstops this season because they have the money to offer and they have the spot to offer more than a lot of teams. The only thing they really don't have to offer is a guaranteed winning season, but they can offer a potential winning season. So that's where I'm at with the Cubs right now.
Gotcha. Speaking of, we mentioned Dylan Cease. How's he been lately?
Yeah, so we'll move over to the White Sox. Dylan Cease has been one of the best pitchers in the American League since the All-Star break. He's near the top of the league. I want to say he's third in strikeouts. He is up there in swing and misses, ERA. In his last 2 starts, he's dominated the likes of the Toronto Blue Jays, which have an awesome starting lineup. And whether he's the ace in the rotation for the playoffs, whether he's pitching second, third, or fourth, he'll be there, and I will have the utmost faith in him.
In his past, I'll just say his past 5 games, the amount of strikeouts, 7, 5, 6, 10, 11. About a 8 math guy, 8.5, 9 average?
Yes. And the last pretty 2 are the
fun.
Last 2 the Rays and the Jays? Or is it the A's and the Jays?
The Jays and the A's. 2
very good lineups.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got sluggers in those 2 lineups, the likes of Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Marcus Semien, Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio. I mean, there are just some sluggers in those lineups, and Dylan Cease, man.
Not to mention the 10 strikeout game he had about a month ago against the Astros.
Yes. Correa, Jose Altuve, Gurriel. Yeah. Good stuff from Dylan Cease. He's in my playoff rotation for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Lucas Giolito doing much of the same.
Recently, that game from Gio.
Yeah. I'm listening.
Let me pull up. I'm going to pull up his real quick. Because what's up?
I was going to say, as you pull that up, there's a deep drive to the warning track. Both players on first and second tag up, and the White Sox have runners on second and third. 1 out.
The game, what day was that? Yesterday. I feel like, he got screwed.
Giolito?
Yeah.
Oh, he got screwed big time.
Yeah.
Big time. He pitched an absolute gem and didn't get a win. And not only did he not get a win, the team ended up losing in the meantime. And they lost in the meantime because, listen to this, Aaron Bummer, he's had horrible, like yesterday, I'm not really blaming luck. He needs to be better than yesterday. Throughout the season, it's mostly been bad luck. And there are statistics to back that up. But yesterday, he strikes out Marcus Semien and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who are probably the two best power hitters in Toronto's lineup. And that's saying something because they have a lot. And then gives up 2 straight hits. And boom, the Jays take the lead.
Mm-hmm. That's the game I was thinking of. There was a game that stuck out. It was well, there's 2 of them. The one against the Rays, he went 7 innings.
Yeah, last Friday when we were at Bannerman's. Yeah.
Yep. And then early in August, when they destroyed the Twins 11-1, he went 8 innings in that game.
That was country music night. For us.
You just know all this shit. I think
that was the night we went to the Country Thunder at home party.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Giolito, regardless of whether he's getting credit for, these wins, I feel like whenever he starts, the bullpen isn't great to him. It's just kind of what I've seen.
Yeah, and the offense too. Yesterday's offense, I mean, I will say this. Robbie Ray dominated the White Sox yesterday. Dominated them. There were 14 strikeouts, White Sox that struck out. They're kind of making up for it today. Leury Garcia just hit a bases clearing double, so it is now a 6-1 ball game. Those are going to happen. There were people freaking out on Twitter. Like, if they hang on and win this game, they will have gone. I have this written down. And then we can get back to the rotation. If they hang on and win this game, they will have gone 7-7 in the most daunting stretch of the season against the New York Yankees, the Oakland A's, the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Toronto Blue Jays. Shout out to the schedule maker for making the White Sox play a rhyming poem because they play through the A's, the Rays, and the Jays in back-to-back-to-back series. And I've noticed that while writing too, because I've brought this topic up like, oh, they got to do good on this stretch, at least go 500 against these 4 teams. And then you say the Yankees, and then you're like, oh, the A's, the Jays, and the Rays. It's like singing Mother Goose.
Just say the Athletics.
The Athletic. Yeah, okay. Shout out Moneyball, one of my all-time favorite movies. I wrote a tweet yesterday. Lynn, Rodon, Giolito, Cease. I think I had Giolito second, but it really doesn't matter. They're all going to have to pitch well. The bullpen's all going to have to be better. They're going to play some bad teams in September to try and get their confidence ready to roll. So I'm high on the White Sox right now. I really am. I'd like to see them hang on and win this game. It's certainly not over yet. That Blue Jays lineup, it's only the 4th inning. If they put up 5 in an inning, nobody should be surprised.
Yeah, and how is that one run that the Jays have? How was that a solo shot?
It was a solo shot by Marcus Semien, former White Sox.
I think I remember you saying that. And so how's Rodon look? Because that is his first game back since, in my opinion, his best game of the season against the Cubs on August 7th. You were at that game, right?
I was at that game, and he was supposed to start in the Field of Dreams game, for those who don't remember. And the day before, they put him on the IL and announced that they would push back Lance Lynn, start Reynaldo Lopez while we were recording this show. It was the YouTube game. It hasn't been, even though it's only 1 run against through 3, it hasn't been all peaches and cream for him. He's walked a couple of guys on 4 straight balls. His command is a little spotty, but he's gotten through it, and 1 run through 3 is a good start. So we'll see how they ease him back, how many innings he goes. I have all the confidence in the world in Los right now, though. I really, really do.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pick anyone else to start in a big game for me, because when he's
over
on,
Lynn?
when Rodon is on, he's on. It's just the question is, do you have a better chance of one of them being on if you go with Lynn? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If here's the thing, either at their best, I'm taking Rodon. But
here's the thing people fail to realize. The draft isn't always a barometer of how good you're going to be in the MLB, but it tells a lot about what your initial talent was. And out of Lance Lynn, Rodon, Cease, Giolito, Keuchel, Kopech, Garrett Crochet, Those are all the guys that I see starting games for the White Sox over the next 5 to 10 years. Rodon was the 3rd overall pick. He was deemed to be one of the best pitchers in the nation when he was in college. And then some injuries, some Tommy John, some inconsistencies after coming back from Tommy John. The velocity's back up to where it needs to be. The stuff is outstanding. And I'm with you. He's right there in terms of talent.
Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of, is he going to be at his best? Because I do believe him at his best and Lynn at his best. I'm taking Rodon.
Wow.
But you have a better chance to get one of them at their best if you just go with Lynn. That's I don't know.
I understand what you're saying. There's something about Lynn's attitude and his FU-ness that you kind of want on the mound in a game number 1. Game 2 is always different. You felt each other out the game before, the night before, whatever the case may be. Lynn seems to be more of a tone setter, if you will. And I think that's important. So this Tim Anderson single is going to score Garcia, and it's now 7-1 in the 4th inning.
Nice.
Have they won while we're recording? I feel like they always stink while we're recording. And this goes for South Burbs Hitman too. And if Gonzo or Joe or Zim, if any of you guys are watching, I actually went back and looked. Their record on Monday is brutal. Brutal. They fucking lose every Monday. And I'm like, it's got to be like an omen.
The start of the week, you long
coming
weekend.
Off that big Sunday win versus the Cubs, and then you got to play like the Minnesota Twins or something, and you get shellacked.
One thing I want to ask about before we preview this crosstown series that we're so looking forward to, and I think you guys have talked about it a little bit, and there's some contradicting opinions, is the 8th inning and 9th inning guys, and Craig Kimbrell, Liam Hendricks. What do you want to happen? If Vinnie was the manager of the Chicago White Sox, how are you going about that situation that they have?
If I were in charge, neither of them would pitch in the same game ever. I'm okay with getting a big boy save. Like if Hendricks needs to come in and nail down the final out of the 8th inning and then come back out of the 9th, that's fine.
Like what happened?
I hate either of them just decide. Yeah. What game did they win against the Jays? Tuesday. Liam Hendricks had like a 5-out save. And I hate the idea of either of them being a setup man. And I had that statistic that I tweeted and wrote an article about earlier this week about how Kimbrell's ERA in the 8th inning is like 5 point something. And his ERA in the 9th is 0.00. And then someone was in my mentions like, oh, that's just recency bias and the White Sox not using him right. Well, he didn't come to the White Sox with a 0.00 ERA. That means even with the Cubs, the only time he ever gave up a run was in the 8th inning. So Kimbrell's a closer. Hendricks is a closer. Use him that way. Hendricks probably isn't available today because he threw 40 pitches on Tuesday, and that's the most he's thrown in a game this season. So I imagine Craig Kimbrell pitches tonight, this afternoon.
You think even with a 7, like let's say they keep pouring it on, I say no shot.
Maybe I could see it because then they'll both be available for the Cubs.
Yeah, they both can be available regardless. But in a game where it's
how many days in a row do you want Craig Kimbrell to go without pitching at all? That's where I run into issues. Like, do you want him sitting there?
That. I'm not worried about that. He'll pitch in the Cubs. No, he'll pitch in the Cubs series for sure. He might even. If that's the thing, I don't know if they're blowout games. No, I don't want to see either of them. Okay,
what if they blow out the Cubs? 3 straight games. Now we're talking like a week without seeing Dirty Craig. I think you got to lock down the Blue Jays today. We'll see what happens, but that's what I would do. But they're both 9-inning guys for me. You got to use Michael Kopech and Aaron Bummer accordingly. And as we've seen, Ryan Tepera. Ryan Tepera had that horrible first game with the White Sox. People were calling him double agent and stuff. It was like his first game back at Guaranteed Rate Field. It was Elvis night. Like, It was like, dude, Ryan Tepera's sweet, and he gave up one bomb to like Jose Ramirez, who hits bombs off of everyone. I don't want to hear this crap about Ryan Tepera. He's a great pitcher. So, Crosstown Classic. On Friday, you will see Thompson versus Keuchel. That's, I guess that favors the White Sox. That might be the last time this season that a Keuchel start favors the White Sox. Alec Mills versus Lance Lynn. Kyle Hendricks versus Dylan Cease. That is the marquee pitching matchup of the series on Sunday. The White Sox swept the Cubs at Wrigley Field earlier this month. And now they play them again at Guaranteed Rate Field. What do you think?
I think it could easily be much of the same as we saw at Wrigley. I kind of wish Kyle Hendricks was going up against Lance Lynn just to make for like.
Didn't they last time?
I think they did.
The Friday
I don't know. But I mean, that's going to be cool for Dylan Cease. He's probably going to he'll show up that game probably more than other games.
He dominated them last time they played.
That could be a good game for Dylan Cease, especially, getting to go up against Kyle Hendricks. Pitchers think about that stuff. They think about the other pitcher that they're going up against. It's a duel between them, essentially.
I'm just happy that we don't have to see any of them bat in this series.
Oh, I know.
Because it's at the premier ballpark, and I don't need to see Kyle Hendricks swing, or I don't need to see Dallas Keuchel take any hacks with his bat. I just don't need to see that.
Yeah.
Dylan Cease, I think that's going to be a really good game. It's the one I'm the most nervous about because the White Sox have had plenty of success against Kyle Hendricks. But if there's a pitcher on the Cubs to say, hey, these guys need to jump on him early, otherwise they're not going to, it's Kyle Hendricks. Friday, I could see being a complete shootout.
See, that's the one I'm worried about. I'm not too worried about the White Sox facing Kyle Hendricks. I'm worried about Keuchel.
Yeah, think about the hitters Keuchel's going to be facing, though. Patrick Wisdom, Rafael Ortega, Frank Schwindel. It's not Tony anymore. There's no Javi.
I don't know.
I keep saying Javi as if that would make much of a difference. This dude's swinging at pitches that are nowhere near his body. If anybody needs to catch that clip, he was with the Mets. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen a baseball player at any level swing at a ball that they had less of a chance at hitting than that in my whole life. But that was pretty funny. You know what's funny? He ended up walking on that.
Did he?
Yeah, he walked on that.
Santiago says, put it all on the Sox to sweep. Here's the clip of Javi swinging a little early. Just a little early.
It makes me laugh every time.
Yeah,
it makes me laugh every time. He likes those balls away. He thinks, and if he ever makes contact with any of them, though, he's hitting it to Mars.
You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to clip up us messing around in the field. You pitching to me.
Next show.
Fuck, I should have done that. I went deep on you with the fucking tennis ball. I still got it. My form is sign me up. I could try out now.
Yeah, I could strike you out still.
Yeah. Okay. Back to Keuchel. I don't know if I can say a sweep, dude. Keuchel, I don't want him really starting in a playoff game.
He's not going to.
Yeah, I don't know. And I was so I remember beginning of this season, that opening series. Didn't he play in that opening series versus the Angels?
Yeah.
I was so happy. I was all in on Dallas Keuchel, and now I'm kind of all out on him. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that game just because I do think they're going to obliterate Thompson. If Eloy hits one onto the Dan Ryan off of him, I would be 0% surprised.
If they win on Friday, they're going to have to – I think they're going to have to put up – it'll be, like you said, a shootout.
Well, they got 7 on Hyun-Jin Ryu. So I do think they're going to obliterate Thompson and win the game. If Keuchel gives up 4 or 5, I wouldn't be surprised. He hasn't been all bad. His ERA is not over 5. I know that's not like saying much, but like there are way worse pitchers, like way worse pitchers. And I would take Keuchel over Alec Mills and Keegan Thompson. If Keuchel was facing Hendricks, I'd be kind of chalking it up as hopefully the White Sox can scrape out a 2-1 win. But yeah, I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see tomorrow. 7, I think it starts. First game.
I'm going to have the White Sox taking 2 out of 3. Winning, going 6-0 against the Cubs is going to be difficult. Yeah, I think they're going to come to play on Sunday and win the day game. I'm not saying Dylan Cease is going to have a bad game.
They were so dominant last series, though.
I know.
I won't be.
And the one game that was close was the Friday, and it was like Romaine Lettuce hit a freaking ball that had an expecting batting average of .07, and he hit it to Pluto off of Kimbrel in like his second appearance with the White Sox back at Wrigley, his first appearance at Wrigley. And that was the only one that was close.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it's a different series. If they win one game, the White Sox, they finally get to keep that trophy because they've tied the last 3 seasons, but the Cubs won it 4 years ago. And so tie goes to whoever has it.
What?
Yeah.
So the White Sox haven't technically won or had the Crosstown trophy
since 2016, I want to say. The year the Cubs won the World Series.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. Well, I'll tell you this. This is a Joey Precy guarantee. They're going to win one of these games. They're not getting swept by the Cubs.
If they get swept, the Cubs get to keep the damn trophy.
They deserve it.
Oh, 100%.
If they get swept this series at Guaranteed Rate Field, they can fucking keep the trophy. They can
1,000,000% keep the damn trophy. I don't give a shit if they keep it, even if they get swept again. Keep it after going 0-6. I don't care.
I'll wear a Cubs hat next show. I'm that confident that they will not get swept by the Chicago Cubs.
All right. I like that. Are you going sweep or 2-1?
I'm going to go sweep just because Keuchel makes me nervous, but they're going to win that game 9-7.
I got you. I got you just now because you were worried about Keuchel, and then I reminded you that they're facing Keegan Thompson.
Yeah.
And it's like, show Keuchel a little more. Like, this is a Cy Young World Series champion. Like, show him a little more. You're giving more respect to Keegan Thompson. Get out of the
over. Take the over. Parlay it with the White Sox tomorrow money line. You're gonna and then enjoy a beer. Enjoy a beer on me over the weekend from all the money you just won. Over parlayed with the White Sox.
I'm gonna
do it right. Do it right now. Do it live.
No, I'm gonna say I have a take. They're gonna sweep them. They're gonna sweep them. Screw Kyle Hendricks. They can get to him early just like they did last time. He's a contact pitcher. You don't want to be a contact pitcher facing the White Sox lineup. Yasmani Grandal will be back. He's hitting like 400 in AAA. Oh my God. They're going to have him back. Moncada's off today.
Wait, Grandal is coming back for sure this weekend?
I'm almost positive he's coming back tomorrow. Yeah. Keuchel, worrisome. Probably be in the bullpen in the playoffs, whatever. I'm showing him more respect than I'm showing Keegan Thompson. I'll tell you that much.
Could this be
no disrespect to Keegan Thompson?
No, but with Grandal coming back, could this be the first weekend or the first game of the year, game 1 lineup?
They haven't had a game 1 lineup.
I know. Could this be the first time we see that? Is what I'm saying.
If the lineup includes Anderson, Moncada, Robert, Abreu, Grandal, Jimenez, Hernandez, I would say Goodwin, and who am I missing? What position? Oh, DH, Andrew Vaughn. That would be, yeah, that would be what I consider. I would probably rather Engel than Goodwin, but he's not going to be back. But Goodwin is comparable enough to Engel where I would say yes. They haven't had that all season long. You're right. Holy crap.
Sick.
And they're about to be, if they win this game, they're currently winning 7-1. They'll be 74-39 or 74-53, something like that. I think I have number dyslexia.
74-55.
74-55 if they win this game.
Yeah. Santiago's got his bet on the line. He will blow David Ross.
Santiago, you dog. Yeah, to go 74-55 with 99 games of no Eloy, no games of Robert until, or from what was it, April 29th until August 16th, or like, to do that is just unbelievable. Yeah. And then Grandal got hurt. Madrigal was down for a while. They didn't replace him till the trade deadline with Hernandez. Guys like Danny Mendick, Leury Garcia, Billy Hamilton, as much as we love him, he stinks at hitting. Guys like that have taken significant at-bats this season. For all the love we gave Mercedes early, he was white hot in April, and the first half of May, he had the same batting average as Trout for like 4 weeks. We also sat there and watched him go 0 for 22 twice with like one walk-off hit smashed in between the 0 for 22. It was like a 5 for 60-something stretch. We sat there and watched that, and they still won. They still won. So people who say these things about the White Sox, I got nothing for you other than you don't watch the games. And you know what? I'll give the Cubs credit. Those guys show up to Wrigley Field every single day and they work their balls off. And if you were going to fire David Ross, I think it would have been done before getting rid of the core from 2016. Now that those guys are gone, what's the purpose of firing David Ross?
Yeah, he'll finish the season.
No, I'm saying even after this season. None of those guys on that team anymore besides Wilson Contreras, Kyle Hendricks, and Hayward were teammates with Ross anymore. And it's not like those were, other than Contreras, it's not like those were consequential players. Hayward had his little rain delay speech. Yeah, whatever. He bats like 197. I don't know. All credit. I think the Cubs deserve some credit for playing hard, even though Tom Ricketts and Jed Hoyer kind of screwed them.
Yeah. And like you said, they're playing hard. They put together every once in a while some good games. They're scoring runs.
Every win that they have against teams not called the Arizona Diamondbacks, Colorado Rockies at home. Who are the other bad teams in the National League? The Marlins, I guess. The Pirates. I would say any win against any team not called those is a reason to smile for the Cubs. And you're going to get a top 10 draft pick. Hopefully, Jed Hoyer makes a good decision, drafts an impact player. You start building up that prospect farm again. They have 2 top 100 prospects right now. Number 1 is Brennan Davis, who is becoming a friend of the program. That's not a joke. We hope to have him on really soon. Cubs fans, Brennan Davis. Pay attention to @Vinny Parisi on Twitter. And then Braylon Marquez, pitcher. So having 2 top 100 prospects after that long run, the White Sox have 0. Now, granted, Crochet, Madrigal, Kopech, and Vaughn are off the list now. So we'll see what happens going into next season if any of these guys can elevate their game and get named into that top 100. But I don't think it's as dim for the Cubs as some people make it out. But they're also certainly not the 2012 Cubs, and they're certainly not the 2017 White Sox yet. But I think they'll get there because they're the Cubs, and they have the resources to do so if they choose.
I agree. And talking about what you said about the White Sox, not having a top 100 prospect anymore because of the guys who have, I guess, graduated into the lineup. You don't need it. When you're a top 3 team in your league, like, you're ready to win the World Series now. So,
yeah, for the White Sox, in terms of that, you could catch an article about it at SouthsideShowdown.com about why they don't have any top 100 prospects. It's like I said, who haven't they hit on? Who was a bust? Do you consider Reynaldo Lopez a bust? He's not a bust, but he's also not the second, like they traded Dunning for Lynn, so I would consider Dunning more valuable as part of the rebuild. Is Zach Collins a bust? Maybe. And bust in terms of he never played?
He was supposed to be the
like Yasmani Grandal type catcher.
Because I remember when it was the Zach Collins and James McCann debate.
Yeah.
Everyone shit on me because I love James McCann. I still do.
Yeah. Joe, James McCann is sweet.
Yeah.
So, but like Moncada hit, Jimenez hit, Robert hit, Anderson hit. Abreu was an international.
What about,
you can even say he hit, but he wasn't part of the rebuild.
How about like Madrigal?
Madrigal, they traded for Kimbrel.
I know. Would they have traded him if he was a major hit? Probably not.
He was, though. No, he was. The Cubs wanted him for a reason. I consider Madrigal a hit. I think the knocks on him are valid. He's not going to hit many gaps. He's not going to hit a lot of home runs, but he's going to have the most unique slash line in the history of the MLB. But if he comes up to bat in the 9 hole and the 7 and 8 guys got on base, he might knock him in. So I'm in on Madrigal. I think he's going to have a good career with the Cubs. My only issue is if the middle of their infield is Madrigal and Horner, there's not a lot of power there. It's two very similar players playing the middle infield for the Cubs. It works more at second base, but we'll see what happens there. I like Madrigal. I'm a fan of him. I really am. And then the pitchers, they hit on Kopech mostly. Giolito. Can you say they hit on Rodon? He wasn't part of the rebuild. He was supposed to be the number 3 behind Sale and Quintana, but like he's kind of like Abreu in terms of he wasn't part of the rebuild, but he stuck around, so he's here now. I guess you could say that about Anderson too, but he was really young when the rebuild started. He only had like a year or two under his belt. They've hit on most of their guys. Andrew Vaughn is looking like a superstar. What's funny?
Drumline. For those of you who don't know, that is our dad will shave his head if the Sox sweep.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know, he will shave his head if they get swept as well because he's bald. Don't worry, we could crack all the jokes we want. We're next.
Oh, I'm next. I was contemplating not wearing a hat today, and I
was contemplating wearing a hat today.
Yeah,
that was the first hat I could grab in my reach. You like that? The spring training hat. Everyone talks about how ugly it is, and that makes me like it even more.
Yeah, I think let's switch the hat for this weekend. Yep, there it is. Right on cue. Perfect.
That is perfect.
So yeah, going into
the guy who puts that on me though is a White Sox fan.
Every White Sox, I guess if you're a fan of Vinny, you like seeing him, like you like giving him shit for hating the Cubs. It's just a thing. It's a fun thing to do.
It's an online character. I'm a nice guy in real life. Give you the shirt off my back. In fact, I have a special gift coming up for Cubs fans. I kind of alluded to it a little earlier. I'm going to not mention it again just in case because we've run into some technical difficulties with this interview over the last.
You don't know how to tell time.
I don't know how to tell time. Or maybe I know how to tell time a little too much. Or maybe I don't let man tell me what time it is. I let nature tell me what time it is. How about that? I go by the sun. The sun tells me when I do things.
You're a psychopath. You're a psychopath for never changing your car clock during daylight savings time.
Do you know how rewarding it is to get to November and all you other assholes have to change your shit and mine's changed right for me? What do I care what time it is in the summer? I don't get in my car to know what time it is. I get in my car to drive.
No, but when you get in your car and wonder what time it is, especially if you have a guest in your car, they have no fucking idea what time it is because you don't know how to change your clock.
I would like to address this most recent comment from Santiago. That is blatantly false. If I hated the Cubs more than the average Cub fan, would I have gone out of my way to interview Cole Franklin? Would I have gone out of my way to interview Brendan Davis? That'll be coming up for you guys. I'm probably more excited for that than any interview. Half of my interview with Pitching Ninja was about Cubs pitching, even though White Sox pitching puts the Cubs pitching to shame. Would I have a show called Crosstown Crosstalk where half the logo's blue and red? Yeah. That's just false accusations.
When Vinny says, I want to address, and then a comment comes up, like shit's about to get real.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're completely wrong. You fucking hate the Cubs more than anyone I know. So
you don't know what goes on in my brain. You have no clue.
I know I have a mansion the size of, name a big mansion.
Mine?
Michael Jordan's mansion.
Mine's bigger than
one that he's been trying to sell. Did he ever sell that thing?
I don't know. I was thinking about buying it.
Yeah, you were thinking about buying it. I have a mansion that big inside of your head.
At thewindycity.com/Cubs, you will find lots and lots and lots of unbiased Cubs journalism there. In fact, I'm going to look at it right now, and I'm going to give a little tidbit to those who are curious. Look at that. The top top 4 articles on the Chicago Cubs portion of thewindycity.com are written by me, and they are about Brendan Davis making a huge jump in their current rankings because the MLB power rankings the prospect rankings were just updated post trade deadline, post first half of the season, like just updated because they do it at the beginning of the season, the middle of the season, and the end of the season. So when Brendan Davis became number 1, I wrote an article about how they are doing the new Cubs Hall of Fame and how they blatantly screwed Sammy Sosa. They did not include him, even though he's clearly one of the best Cubs of all time and should be in the Cubs Hall of Fame. And I've acknowledged that was the worst trade in White Sox history many, many times, even more than Fernando Tatis Jr. I wrote about them being named to the Field of Dreams game. I may or may not have used a picture of Craig Kimbrell pitching in the in that game for the picture. And then the one right under that was kind of mean. I wrote about how Jake Arrieta was an embarrassment for the Cubs in 2021. But that had a lot to do more than just baseball. Jake Arrieta is a Class A douchebag. And if he played for the White Sox, I'd be saying the exact same thing. And I think a lot of people can probably guess why. And yeah, see you later, Jake Arrieta. I write about the Cubs nicely all the time. I'm a man of the people.
There you
I'm
have
a man
it.
of the people.
We saw a score update. Is Los still in for the?
Los is, and the Jays, they definitely just had a single. Oh, it was Semien. He scored. He had an RBI single. There's 2 outs in the 5th. The funny thing is, it is raining pretty hard in Toronto, and them close their COVID-19 rules make it very difficult to close the roof because then it becomes an indoor facility. And it changes the amount of people they're allowed to have in the stadium. And, there's the mask regulations. So it's a mess up in Canada when it comes to like this place. Can they not close the roof? Even though imagine a game in a dome getting rained out.
I feel like
bad
that's
because of the reason that it's happening. Like I feel bad about COVID and all. I'm sensitive to it. But I mean, the thought of a game in a dome, they're getting poured on in a dome. It's honestly really
I feel
funny.
Like that's something you'd see on like an episode of South Park. Like, well, why don't we just close the roof? We can't.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, this baseball stuff, man, it's fun. Shout out to the Angels for letting the Orioles win their 2nd straight game. They're now leading the MLB in wins since yesterday after going on a 19-game losing streak. Maybe I'll rock a Baltimore Orioles hat next episode. I have one.
Oh, I know you do.
It's sick.
I saw one. I was driving yesterday, and the car in front of me had an Orioles hat like on their dash, and I was able to see it like from behind their rear windshield. I was like right behind them, waiting to turn, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, that sucks.
You saw an Orioles logo?
an Orioles hat. Like, it was this guy was an Orioles fan.
Oh, yeah. I don't want people to think I'm an Orioles fan and feel bad for me if I rock the Orioles hat.
Yeah.
But there's only how many teams would I not wear a hat for? I probably wouldn't wear a Dallas Cowboys hat. I probably wouldn't wear a Green Bay Packers hat.
There's not a single football team I wouldn't wear a hat for.
I will say football is a sport where like
It's more accepted to like random teams for some reason, which I've never understood.
well, it's the national game right now. I mean,
Yeah.
we love hockey and baseball, but it's the national game right now. I will say if I had like a big parlay on Green Bay, I would certainly feel less bad about rooting for them than other sports. Like I just won't put in bets on teams I don't like in other sports. But in football, like I don't mind. The only time I really wouldn't feel bad rooting for Green Bay was if they were playing the Cowboys in the playoffs. I would like to live a full, happy, healthy life without seeing the Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl. Like, I think I would almost rather
America's team.
I think I would rather the Cubs win the World Series again because they won it already. I wouldn't be saying that had they still been on their drought. But now that they won one already and I know I can survive it, I honestly think the Cowboys, I would rather not see them win the Super Bowl.
That's absolutely crazy.
Dude, that team, it's worse when they're like 8-8 and they're still like that. Imagine if they won the Super Bowl.
I'm all for it. Go Cowboys.
Yeah, well, make sure you listen to all the football-themed shows here on the Barroom Network. There's plenty of them. I hope to, be somewhat of a part of the coverage. I know our two shows are mainly hockey and baseball, but we're going to have a conversation about football here, especially on the hockey show, because got like 1 or 2 more weeks of nothing before training camp and the preseason all starts to really kick in. I hope there's no more tragedies that happen in hockey so we can talk about dumb BS stuff on the hockey show if we want to. I would like to have someone on to talk a little football. I think that'd be fun to kind of like, I like bringing people together. Let's bring all the sports together. Let's all have a good time. I appreciate everybody who watched this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you had as much fun on this show as I did, because I think this was one of our premier shows that didn't have a guest.
Yeah. I mean, I'm your guest. So like you're blessed every show with me.
You're not my guest, you're my co-host.
Don't be rude to your guest.
It is pouring in Toronto.
On behalf of Vinny and myself, I wish everyone a healthy, happy, fun crosstown series. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. I hope it's respectful. Be kind to your friends.
Yeah.
Like, be like me. Be a troll. Don't be a jerk. I saw some people getting into it at the Cubs White Sox series at Wrigley. Don't be that guy. You want to make fun of them trading away Anthony or David Ross being a bad, like, that's fine. That's baseball. There's no reason to get personal or, we're trying to spread the love here. You show up to this show. I'm actually hoping that next week, if all goes according to plan, I'm a big plan guy. If all goes according to plan, we will have 2 guests on next week's show. One will be pre-recorded and one will be live. So, and I think fans of both sides of town will appreciate it. And I'm very excited. And I appreciate you for always being here with me on the shows. What's that?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Next show will take place from a new scenery, right? We will not be in our...
I barely know what day of the week it is.
Yeah. So I believe we'll be coming to you live from Georgia.
Atlanta,
yeah. Georgia.
That's right. You're right. Joey's right.
I know I'm right.
Enjoy this background while you can.
It was never a question. I'm going to try to figure out, a nice setup. Maybe we can do it sitting next to each other if audio works out visually and everything. I will figure it all out. And obviously our amazing director, Aldo, will be a helping hand in that. But it's going to be fun. It'll be a new experience next week. Yeah.
Shout out to everyone on the Barroom Network. Special shout out to Gabriel, doing some big work for the Barroom Network. I watched that video earlier today, and I'm very happy to hear about those kinds of things going on. And everybody who watches, thank you, Santiago. Drumline, that's our dad. Thank you. Kimmy, I know you're a big follower on Twitter. You're very nice. Thank you so much. Looking up, is that Tiger kill him? Oh, Tigger, like from, is that Sesame Street? No, what is it? Oh, come on.
You're a mess right now.
No, I know. Winnie the Pooh. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah, we got Tigger in the chat. That's pretty sweet. I liked Winnie the Pooh when I was younger. People used to call me Vinnie the Pooh.
That's why they called you that.
Yeah, for sure. It was for other reasons.
You like honey. You liked honey.
I love honey.
Why did you
I actually think it's kind of gross, but
that's crazy. On that note, for at Joey Parisi on Twitter, I'm at Vinnie Parisi on Twitter. Thank you for listening. Go White Sox.